Hello and welcome to week 21, Studio Art Week. You must send me a photo of your artwork or a video of it if you can't get the camera to work. Remember, by clicking my hand on any slide, you will go to my help page with how-to videos on taking photos, using the videos, or using these slides. There is also my Zoom link on the help page so you can come see me. Last week we selected our favorite photos from the gallery and shared them with me and your classmates. Some of you even started on your lines,
which we are going to trace really hard with a crayon. You may use any color crayon, you may use more than one color crayon, or you may use just one. I am using one color crayon and I am pushing very hard. I am going back and forth over top of this line to make it a very strong line. And I'm going to follow it. I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to speed up this process so that you're not on here for very long. Now, the reason I made strong lines is because water and wax don't like each other. If your lines are strong, solid lines, they will keep the watercolor in the shapes. Shapes? What? You say we didn't make shapes? Oh, but look again. I think we did. When a line eats its tail, it makes a shape. So here's a line, and it stops here. That means this is a shape. But also, when two or more lines touch or intersect, they begin the sides of your shapes. So this here, I can't find it now, but this is a line, and it comes around here. But notice, I'm here, this line touches another line here. If I were to go around here, I find a shape. So I'm just going to shade this in just so that you understand that when a line hits another line, it makes a shape. You don't need to shade this in. You can if you would like to, and only do one shape if you shade it in. But I'm showing you this so that you understand when we start painting, you're not just going to paint the whole thing, you're going to find the different shapes. So this is a shape, and just like bumper cars, I hit a wall. That means I have to stay inside here. And I have a wall here. There's a tiny little room or a tiny little shape there, but I can't get in there until I use a different color. So this is a shape. Even though it's different lines, those different lines are bouncing me to keep me inside that shape.
Once you make your line strong with crayon, we are going to stop the video, then click the green next arrow so you can touch the easel to work with paint. You will need your paintbrush, and a container of water halfway full. The paintbrush should be inside your paint container. But wait, you didn't make your lines or label it yet? Not to worry, just keep listening and I will show you how to make your lines. If you haven't gotten your art supplies yet either, you're going to try using the media center inside the studio. Just make sure once you open the media center, you go back and you touch that easel to follow the demonstrations like everybody else. Thank you and have a good day. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to get out your art bags. We are going to do a little bit of labeling and a little bit of creating today so that we can create a whole lot more next week. So In our art bags, we have the stop paper. The stop paper says this art bag is for art class only. Please have this bag with you for art class from now until whenever we're done with the bag. Please write your name on the line below and always keep this paper in your bag. That way, if you're at a daycare or something and you misplaced it, they know whose it is. We will use these supplies in our art lessons. Love, Mrs. Brunlinger. So please write your first and your last name. Don't do anything on the back. We might be using the back for something later. Next, you have some good paper. This is going to be your painting paper. You have one sheet of large or regular size painting paper. You'll notice that this is not as flimsy as this paper. This thicker paper is for paint. It holds paint without making holes in it. If you go over a spot too many times, sure, you'll make a hole in it, but it will hold the paint and the watercolors a lot better than that other paper will. Okay? There are also 2 half sheets of good paper. On those pieces of paper, I would like you to get a pencil and write G for good. I am putting the capital letter G because it is much easier to see. So I have the letter G 3 different times. Wonderful. You will be using this sheet today, the half sheet. So just put that aside. You have flimsy papers. You have 1, 2, 3 flimsy papers. Please, on your 3 flimsy papers, write the letter D, okay, for drawing. They are your drawing papers. We will use them later, so please make sure that you do that. Put them on a pile, and those things can go, we'll end up putting them back in the bag. We need this piece of paper here for our demonstration.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you are going to get that good piece of paper. It's that half sheet of paper. And on that half sheet of paper, I suggest using a pencil. I put a dash here, and I'm going to put my first name and my last name, because that is how you should always do your artwork. Your name should go on your artwork on the back. Now, I didn't do it huge because if I need to use the back of my paper, I can always flip it over and do it on the back. I can erase that if I need. Then I'm going to flip it over. So we're going to make a couple lines, but before we start making lines, I want to talk about some lines. You guys are smart enough people, you know that this is a wavy line. A wavy line has a valley and a hill, a mountaintop. So notice if I use it this way or this way, they're exactly the same because they both have like a hill here and then a reverse hill, okay? So that's a wavy line, and you probably want to do bigger lines because if you do too small, you're going to have some trouble with your artwork. So this might not work out so well with you. Now, this is also a wavy line, but what you'll notice is I did a big hill and then I did a couple little hills and medium hills. That's perfectly all right. I'm giving you some ideas because I want you to make some fun lines using wavy lines, scallop lines, and bumpy lines. Or I'm sorry, scallop lines are bumpy lines. But we're going to also talk about zigzags. So here's your scallop line or bumpy line. Notice that it is a hill and it stops and it bounces again. It stops and it bounces again. Notice how it is different from a wavy line. Okay, the wavy line has a hill and an upside down hill, whereas a bumpy line or a scallop line just has a hill and then it bounces right back up like Tigger. Okay? Now, what I did is I decided to have some fun and I did a scallop line. I did a bump and then I did 2 small bumps and then I decided to bump the opposite direction. This can also be considered a scallop line. Okay? Next, we have our typical zigzag line. Remember, bigger is better for this artwork that we're doing because the little tiny zigzags as well as little tiny wavy lines or scallop lines are going to be too cumbersome for you. They're going to be annoying. So I did a regular zigzag line. However, we can get interesting with our zigzag line. Okay, and it looks like I have some W's and M's in here. You could do like the heartbeat line, make it interesting. So now that you have those thoughts and ideas, okay, here are some weird wonky lines, but you'll notice that I have the scallop idea here, and I have some straight lines here, okay. I have a wave here. All right, so those are just some ideas to get you moving and juicing. So the first thing we need to do, I'm holding my paper landscape style, and you're going to find two spots about equal distance. So that's about equal from here to here. Now, if you notice, I just made a V with my finger, and that actually works pretty well to divide it up. You don't want to put a dot here and a dot here, because look, if I do that, it's not really even. If I put it really close together, that's not really even. Now, if yours is a little bit off, it's not a big deal. It might be more interesting that way. I like to kind of even mine out. So I put two little dots. Now I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to start with a straight line, and let's do a scallop. And now a wavy line and a zig. Okay, so I've got something interesting there. Now here, I'm going to start with a wavy line, a straight line, a zigzag, and I don't know, let's do a scallop. So I've got some mixed lines together. Looks a little kooky banooky. Have some fun with it. Your line is your line. Now, we're going to do the same thing going the opposite way. This is really important. Notice how I did not do any loop-de-loo lines. Loop-de-loo lines are lines that cross over themselves. Okay? We don't want to do loop-de-loo lines because they're going to get very, very hard for you guys in our for next week. So again, I turned my paper. It's now portrait style. I'm going to just go in the middle here and put a dot right smack dab in the middle of that top part of my line or my paper. And again, I'm going to make some crazy kind of line. And there you go. That's my line.
So now that you made your lines, it is time to trace them with crayon, like I showed you earlier in this video. When you are all done, touch the green next arrow to see the demonstration on the easel. That's the blue splat painting.